half would exceed. Hopefully with that 1 rep that you have versus Minnesota, you're able to make those adjustments and come out swinging this time around.
All right, well, that's the setup. That's the breakdown. Let's get it going. It's the first time we'll see Optic Texas on Colossus. So a lot of focus to see, yep, are we going to get flexibility out of Hercules? He has been unbelievable in saving some of the Optic respawns. And with an SMG in hand, it's a good start here for Optic trying to play around with the spawns.
Yeah, already playing with the spawns because Shotzzy goes for an instant flank route over towards yellow. So you're making it chaos in towards the P1. And at least for now, Optic have stabilized in towards the HP. Spawn still coming in split for the Ravens, so it's going to be an instant pinch here for Craze. He should find a freebie for the first kill, but Shotzi's still alive on 4 in a row.
He was hearing all that conversation through all the watch parties and the flank and all that stuff, saying, oh, you want to see me get up that KD leaderboard? And the hard point, here we are. 4-0 start, but does get shut down as the SMGs for Carolina eventually find their way over to contest. But now it's just down to, can they actually hold this next rotation? The wipe is good. Optic Texas spawning out, have to make the long route.
Yeah, taking their sweet time working through P3. It's going to fall into the hands of Lurk and Nero. Nero watching the deep angle, has the one-on-one versus Mercules. Gets the information as well. There's another one close by, but can't hit the shots onto Shotzi. So it's now on Craze to take care of this player trying to influence the spawn. Shotzi's able to get the better of him, and there's pressure through the front, so Optic looking for a clean break.
Yeah, and they're going to get it. That's also the spawns that will move. Exceed can't lock down the shots onto Hercules, who has swapped back over to the AR. So again, that flexibility continues to be a key focus for Optic. Shotzi in some trouble here. Surprise around the back as Nero's with the final elimination and block the spawns up. Hook up top and middle, though, at least allows some space for Dashy to stay alive on, but it's still a very hard-pressed hold, and Carolina will find the counter break.
Yeah, you just play really aggressive there if you are Optic. You were hoping that the back was going to be secure, but Shotzi just plays the timing and chooses the wrong time to turn. Carolina get that kill, eventually spawn teammates nearby, and able to manage this P2 for a majority of that time, basically tying the game now off the rotation towards P3. You are going to have Optic here first, but Lurks and the rest of the Ravens flying through bottom tunnel. They win the rotation. Now they just got to hold.
Yeah, just brute force. Love the call, and now the Ravens have to try to fight up against Optic's quote-unquote favorite spawns going over to new, if they can hold for the next 40 seconds, that is. And working on a route is Lurks. Love the timing for this. Backs up, makes his way around, finds a kill, the kill feed onto Hook. Another one onto Dashy. That is a absolutely beautiful route from Lurks. Started off 0-4, now up to 6-5, and has flipped the spawn single-handedly.
Yeah, the timing on that was perfect, because when the chaos is going down, all of Optic's focusing on bottom tunnel, that's when it opens up that pinch avenue there for Lurks. Flip the spawns on its head and still soak them a majority of this time, but the final 15 looking like it's going to go in favor of the green wall. And now the race off the rotation over towards new. They already have players in a position because Ravens are fighting so hard for this old time. Now Optic are here contesting, and they instantly take away those spawns from them. So a misplay there from the Ravens to commit on that old time for so long.
Yeah, small miss. I think especially just watching who was going to step up and watch the pitch off spawn. Shotzi gets 2, shut down though by Craze. Trying to find an opening, but he's completely overwhelmed as he gets turned and spun around by Hook. Hercules picking up the pinch up top at middle. Perfect setup here for Optic. What a response this has been, not only punishing Carolina for hitting the old time, but also shutting down any early routes from the Ravens.
Yeah, now this is going to force Nero to hit a long route through that old time at P3. Try to get something done on the backside of yellow. At least get your teammates an avenue of approach by taking down that kill from Hercules. But now you have P1. You have yet to been able to jump through the front side of this HP because Optic keep on funneling their way up through statue. They take the lead, and this is looking like it's going to be a flawless P4.
Yeah, well, Craze gets a blessed spawn there around the back. I was about to say, these are all staggered 2v3 situations for the Ravens at least, trying to make their way around those long routes, but Optic had put maybe a little bit too far up towards statue on that route through mid. Craze is going up, and then Lurks is starting to really light things up. Now 4 in a row for him, 13-8, and the Ravens with that scrap time will have a 10-point lead going to our second set of hills.
Yeah, now they're set up here at the P1 with trophy systems at that. So make their hold a little bit easier, and especially when Lurks is hitting dirty pinches, you just can't read them unless you're Exceed. Shuts him down on 7 in a row. Does not earn that Hellstorm, but the aggression right now for the Ravens is too much to handle for the green wall. Another clean 4 dead in the feed. And even though the spawns are scattered, Carolina are reading them.
Yeah, they're doing a really nice job just finding isolation with some rogue players. Exceed the one now trying to play around the back as Optic are trying to get themselves back together here. 25 seconds left on P1, and they're fighting for new as we jump over and take a listen to the comms for Optic Texas.
Watch out their door, watch out their door. Turn outside you, turn outside you.
There's one more balcony, weak on time, half health on time. Their corner, he went their door, Go down, go down.
There, 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 there.
Back there, back there.
Can be by me.
In the back P2 then.
We're lobby.
Nice, get up.
I don't push through.
Really good.
Dead. Another low statue. Last guy.
Yellow statue.
Let's go.
I'm top mid.
statue.
I'm gonna push
Try
out
to
your
get
front. I'm
top
pushing out your front.
Okay.
Hellstorm.
I'm holding top mid.
I took a fight. I killed the kid shrieking.
Get out of this.
Another one. Two there. Top mid steps. And we're missing one.
Two top mid, I got one. Another
I
one
killed the
top
kid
mid.
shrieking.
Watch out.
I spawned in the back.
One was
We're
top
good.
mid, one was top
Yeah, they
mid.
probably both hit
Outer really got her. Grace.
Help time.
Backside time, crazy.
Go backside top.
Close right, close right.
Front after that. Dead.
Up, two front.
Yeah, let's
Get
do
front.
front.
They know I'm close.
I got one.
Another one close front. Dead.
Dead.
That's blocking.
Go, go, go.
I'm blocking. We're good.
I'm holding your door. Found statue. Stop mid. Dead.
Nice.
There's gonna be more statue.
They're back lobby. Because he's going
Our door. Our top mid.
Well, that's about as clean as it gets. Lots of space inside of a good small talk. Also surviving the Hellstorm Optic right back to within 10 points. And now it's up to the Ravens to figure out if they're going to hit old or to set themselves up for new as we jump over to a Carolina. Listen in.
I'm running back here.
Outer color dead. I'm one boy.
Outer dead.
I have a tunnel.
Okay. I don't have flak on.
One have gone through.
I don't think so. You could go top mid or not.
I'm holding your tunnel, guys.
I'm yellow.
Two yellow. I'm pretty sure.
I'm dead. Close on me yellow.
I'm pitching.
Yellow,
There's
yellow.
two back here.
I got you. Deep got
Last bomb, last bomb, bite him.
Simon got hit.
I'm dashing. One shot time, guys. He's inner. Give me a tunnel.
There's one behind.
Dash you
Tunnel.
Dash is in
Tunnel.
Yellow. Two yellow.
Okay,
One's top mid. He's gonna go out tunnel. One top mid. Gonna go out tunnel.
Heard you. There should be two tunnel ones.
You could pinch.
Shallow tunnel.
Tyler dead.
Got Eddie.
Simon close Eddie.
I'm on top mid.
I'm on top.
Top mid. No one back yellow. No one back yellow me.
I have your help, yellow.
Time, Dashy, outer boat.
He's back yellow. Back yellow. I'd even him. Back yellow.
Time.
Back yellow. One shot. We should flip.
Yellow.
They spawn you. Go. Fast.
Yo, I got a trophy on you.
Heard you. They didn't pressure me.
I don't know. I'm one shot. I need help. They might fly. There's two at least.
Okay, and one's deep left.
Outer.
Statue.
Solid stretch for both teams right there. Jay, what'd you take away?
I thought Optic's communication was on point when it comes down to the small talk. The energy wasn't really there for such an insane small map. And then the opposite side of the Ravens, all the small talk is there. You even heard Lurk saying, I don't have flag. Someone needs to be in a position to throw a trophy at my feet. So everyone is on point right now. They all sound in sync. But in this moment right now, Optic have been able to capitalize breaking through the front because Ravens found the right kills in the final 10 seconds of that old time to flip the spawns. But on the first attempt, Optic break, and now they're running away with this game.
Yeah, sure, feel that way, but Craze was able to earn himself a Hellstorm, which could be a huge tool as Carolina try to fight for this last 20 seconds. Up and over goes Craze, only able to find the first. Nero off the pinch, not a great angle at the hill, but able to find at least one before being shut down. So great here from Optic. They're going to hold on to the scrap time of that back 15 seconds. Ravens try to play for rotation to new, exceed the one trying to zone off the exits, and will at least be able to shut down Mercules before the rotation's underway.
Yeah, he's got to hold down this position if you want to get yourself back into the mix. If you want good time at P1, you need statue. And so ready, he finds the first kill, sets up Nair for the second. All the spawns for Optic over towards yellow side. Now it's just Crazy's job to just stay alive as long as he can and exceed to value his life over towards statue, but he falls. And now you got long routes developing for Shotzi.
Yeah, you sure do. Craze spamming things down, but the pinch from Shotzi is in. Lurks down low. Lots of damage comes through, but it's Nero who takes him out of the picture. Well, Nero, to be fair, did find a double. Now the help coming up top. That's going to work out nicely. Nero working for a streak. He's actually got another Hellstorm of his own, so Ravens are going to have two Hellstorms to play with here late into this game. As long as they can stop team killing, they should have the numbers try to rotate over to new as well.
Yeah, it's final 15 seconds, and that one player that's on this side of the map in Mercules wins a gunfight, secures this side of the map for his team, gets the close spawns, while the rest of the teammates are pressuring towards the old time. So still a 30-point lead for Optic Texas. Rotation in favor of Optic Texas. You're gonna have to try to invest one of these Hellstorms early on because you need to get a break quickly.
Lurk's trying to find two. There's the Hellstorm from Nero. Jumping through, but Lurk loses his life, so now this Hellstorm needs to create at least some opening around the hill, and it will at least find Shotzi in the back. What happens to the spawns? The answer, nothing. Optic still spawning close. Although, that little push-up by Craze does force one player to spawn out, but it's not enough to change the tide on the hill itself. Nero trying to get quickly off this backside spawn, only able to find one, and now it's danger time as Optic still hold the hill.
Yeah, those close spawns there for Optic blessed them with another opportunity to hold on, and now they clean house with a clean 4 dead, only needing 10 seconds. Final push for Ravens to the front.
Yeah, Nero gonna drop. Lurks for the trade. Has to find more. Trophy systems all over the hard point, plus the cutoff from Huke. Wow, brilliant from Optic in that last set of hills. Doing a really nice job, honestly, from 3 to 4 and then back again from 1 to 2. Absolutely perfect. Survived through not 1, but 2 real good Hellstorms. I don't know. That was pretty solid overall from Optic, I'd say, Jay. A couple of miscues, but largely speaking, pretty happy with what I saw.
Especially on the second half, man. The adjustments come in. When you get those trophy systems in your back pocket, we're winning rotations and we're setting up with trophy systems to help us out off of these stuns and A's. You were great at the P2. You chain it over towards the P3. And even in the final 10 seconds of that P3, when you lose the spawns for P4 on your first attempt to break right back on in, you get it done. So that's how you close out the game if you are Optic. And you have to be feeling now confident more than ever that you could potentially add Colossus to your map pool going into Major 1, because it wasn't clean in the beginning, but the finish was amazing. Everyone started to fire on all cylinders. It was Shotzzy hitting his early routes, setting up the pinches. Hook started finding kills through that middle map. Dashy started holding down his power positions, and Big Merc is always going to do what Mercules does. Optic take map number 1 in a convincing fashion towards the ending of that game.
Yeah, really nice stuff overall. So that gets us into a really solid setup for this rest of the series. I think especially if you're an Optic fan, just knowing that you have not played Colossus much. Blackheart's been one of their hard set vetoes so far on this year. Talking about since we came back on January, of course. For the Ravens, that's felt like your best opportunity to possibly steal something away in the respawn, maybe specifically in the hard point, as they had a handful of reps there. No wins, though. 0-3, now 0-4 for the Ravens. So still need to kind of figure things out. But again, I kind of look at the comms, the listeners for both the two teams. All in all, pretty happy with what we were able to hear. And outside of just a couple of moments where the Ravens got stuck kind of playing into 2v4s, just weird spawn situations that they just didn't really wait for each other, I thought they played the map all right as well.
Yeah, I just think the one thing that Carolina needs to fix going into Major 1 is just how they are setting up breaks, because once their first push gets shut down, it's like they default everybody through the front. And versus a pro team, you're most likely going to get mowed down in those scenarios. So you got to take a deep breath. Someone's got to develop on a long route. You got to have more impact out of those Hellstorms, because it's not only once, but 2 times at the P2 you invested and you get nothing done there. So there's just little things that you're going to have to fix going forward if you are Carolina in your hardpoint game, but your breaking percentage, setting up as a team on how we properly needed to do it is what they need to work on if they want to increase their success rate in hardpoint, in my opinion.
Yeah, and maybe just overall kind of taking a look at, are we actually going to commit to try to hit on old time where there's only 18 seconds left? I think there was a couple times that you and I both commented on the fact that, like, this is a bit of an overinvestment to go for scrap time, and you're losing out on rotation to what, to be fair, is neutral hard points. Again, hitting 2 old, not getting a 3 in time. You know, we've seen teams do that and get away with it. Not necessarily the case here. So that's where you kind of feel the difference in the score by the end of it, I would say. But now we take a look at the search and destroy. For the Ravens, hey, it's been pretty solid overall since bringing a seed into the picture. To be fair, they have not necessarily played a lot of Scar since back in December, but overall, they're still ranking really nicely, and the same can be said for Optic. Really just saved their most recent affair where they played on Scar versus Thieves. They got absolutely smoked.
Yeah, both teams have figured it out, search and destroy, pretty early on. For Carolina, it's been the difference maker of Exceed coming in with that boomstick, allowing the SMGs to be playmakers on the map, not forcing them to be a shell of themselves or be uncomfortable in a position that they don't like to play. No, he's allowing them all to go where you want, and I'm going to hold down the opposite side. Just giving them that freedom allows them to know, like, we can play with the confidence. We don't have to be afraid of making mistakes. And then on the opposite side for Optic, they've been great in search and destroy. But the last time we saw them on this map, it wasn't so great. Versus LAT on a map like Scar, where usually you're going to win that fight on that map based off of your first bloods. You lose that category 5-2. But then you go on the defensive side, where you're usually one of the teams that are the best on the defensive side, and you couldn't win a single one. You weren't finding that opening kill. You weren't successful on your retakes. You were just getting picked apart on a map like Scar. So you cannot have that be the case today. You need to be able to hold your ground on your defensive side. Don't allow them to get free bomb plant today, because B is basically uncontested.
Yeah, absolutely the case. I mean, we talk a lot about just the dynamic between both of these two bomb sites and how one feels a little bit easier to approach than the other. We also talked a lot about this. We saw it really become an instance lately in the Challenger space. Yeah, it's not just in the CDL, but also in the Challenger space. Like, getting a defensive first blood of this map essentially guarantees you a round. It is so hard to approach the bomb sites in an odd man situation if you're on the attack. So there's a lot of focus there. Who's got their set nades going? Are we going to see the impact of Exceed Sniper? Are we going to try to default to trying to play play that scope versus scope, or, you know, what exactly will be the style here? Because again, most recently watching Optic play LA, they were kind of losing out in that first blood department pretty heavily and never really getting a chance to play out their play, like their playbook. So tough to see that. I think is very a characteristic because they had been really storming through just about everybody in Search and Destroy leading up to that match versus the Thieves.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Kenny was on that lineup versus the Thieves, man, because he was always in a position to just play the trade. If you got the first blood, he was instantly striking for that second kill, always in a position to just keep his teammates alive. It just forced Optic to be uncomfortable. Playmakers could not isolate gunfights because it was a 2v1 every single time that you go for one of those fights. So if you're Optic, just got to completely forget about what happened versus Thieves. Actually, don't forget about it. Use that as energy.
No, you got to use it.
Make those adjustments to come out here and be more prepared, because Exceed's boomstick is going to have an impact. And if he's finding successful kills in that first blood category, you know the SMGs are going to be the aggressors to even make up on those numbers or capitalize off of those first bloods. So you got to shut down both sides of the field.
Lots of stuff to consider, and for those that are trying to create power rankings, good luck. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I was trying to formulate mine earlier today, and I had a tough time trying to determine what was going to be my number one in power rankings right now, because all the teams that were at the top of our leaderboard leading up to last weekend had faced some pretty bad losses. Optics lost the Thieves, of course, that one stands out in our minds, but Vegas loses to G2. No one saw that coming, and of course, Carolina was able to supersede Toronto. And not to mention, how about Paris? We're not going to see them today, but they lost one to Falcons. So there is some, I think, realistic expectations that what you see in the standings here, very well, maybe your power rankings are Riyadh the best team in the game right now. Very well may be, man. I mean, this is the tightest our standings have been at the beginning of a season, maybe ever in the CDL.
Oh, yeah, without question, man. And Paris do play today. I'm pretty sure they play Koi in the next matchup coming up. So that's a battle between top four. So that one's going to be a very fun one to watch. But we still got to get through this one. I know all of the Green Wall fans were a little bit worried with the display that Optic Texas showed versus LAT. But on the map that you have yet to play on the season, you come out, throw it in that opening one for the map one here. And you were able to walk away with it with pretty much ease, winning by almost 80. Now looking for the adjustments on the Scar, Search and Destroy. And something that's really scary too about playing such a young Carolina roster is that they're not afraid to make plays. Like, it's not the common thing. All right, you have them one shot, you're expecting them to stay tough. No, we're going for an ego chow. Those things can catch you off guard. So just got to continue to play with that confidence if you're Carolina, even after a slow map one.
I mean, how much did we say that watching Craze and Challengers, that he would, in Search and Destroy in particular over the last 2 years, do things that you just would not expect. On the other side of that, though, talking about just enabling those SMGs to kind of do what they want, yeah, the tempo that we've seen be established by this Ravens roster with the addition of Exceed has been very noted. And I think there's always like this stuff about, you know, Exceed overall, you know, kind of coming into his revenge tour now after being, you know, really discredited a ton. He has, I think, been one of the more consistent players through and through. And I understand that his time in the league has been met with a lot of, well, maybe not exactly shining results, but let's be candid. He goes down to Challengers and he pops off. So maybe it is one of those conversations surrounding Exceed that he just continues to find himself on rosters that are just not well formulated. And that's been a case of a lot of different players that have come in and out of the Challenger space. And right now, at least, he's been a very big catalyst for this Carolina success.
Yeah, and I feel like the reason of that is because of how much experience he has in Challengers. You have been around this type of play style for the last couple of years. You know these guys play with a little bit of heads cut off, but if you kill their confidence, they're not the player that got them in that position. So you need to allow these guys to fly. And joining the Ravens, well, obviously it's a bird. They've been flying ever since then, ever since he enters the lineup, man. Just allowing these guys to be loose, be that veteran, but with that mindset of still the young cat. I love it. I love that formula right now for Carolina.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So we'll see if they can kind of continue on that trend, because I will say, looking at the overall series layout, they're probably going to need it. I mean, their overload has not been poor. That much you did mention, of course. But the thing about it is you have a chance to control your own narrative here if you're the Ravens after starting 0-2. Again, you were able to find 2 nice wins versus Miami and G2, but it's the win versus Toronto that I think really stood out to everyone out there. Looking at these guys like, whoa, hold on a second. And to be fair, they did survive through a Search and Destroy that went round 11 on Den, so not that they're strangers to icing up at all, but that was a key kind of formula towards them getting through that series. Now you look at Optic, That's, of course, a huge matchup in the scheme of, are you actually a roster that can compete at the major and possibly compete for a Sunday? But then you also have the Thieves who knows what we're going to get. I mean, are we going to see Kenny playing at an all-star level like he did last week consistently? I think the general consensus is that there's some doubt surrounding that. But hey, from what we saw last week, that it really improves this Thieves team, who are largely running 3 ARs throughout the entirety of that series.
Yeah, I feel like Thieves figured out their recipe as a collective unit, not specifically just Kenny. Kenny played lights out, but just the system that they needed to have in play to be consistent in this game with so much all-star power. It's tough when everybody wants to shine, but you can't do that with that kind of lineup. Someone has to take turns, and at least everybody played their part in that series versus Optic. So that's something that you have to focus on after you get through this one. If you are Carolina so far in the season, 1-4 map ones, you're not used to winning map one. So let's just start it at map 2.
That's fair enough. Well, everyone's starting to get locked back in. All of our hesitations and pauses look like they are about to be resolved. And yes, we're jumping on in. Scar, search, and destroy for map number 2. It's going to be Optic on the opening attack. And we will be trying to see some sort of a feel out here over towards B field. Merculus is going to watch for a rotation through mid and actually finds first blood at a Nero top tower.
Yeah, and they gained all that information that the Ravens are getting aggressive up through plane. So you could try to take more space away at A, but Ravens are already in the position here to contest it. Mercules is going to be spotted, but still the man advantage. No need to force a one-on-one. Still work the clock over towards A.
Exceed's going to be up top on the corner. Nice shots, has Dashy down. 3v3. And keep your eye on Craze. He has snuck back over to the mid crash site. And if he is able to find any sort of information from either Lurks or Exceed, he may pounce on it. But has to keep his head in a swivel for now. Optic are trying to reframe their approach, looking over towards Deli and Craze. And the exact moment that Merculus was looking to challenge, slides over and gives away his position, giving the middle of the map to Optic.
Yeah, but you don't want to give Optic this B bomb site, so he tries to rotate back over towards green and just gets caught. And now Optic with 25 seconds to get the B bomb plant for free, and this retake becomes a whole lot more difficult. Lurks needs to get in a position to spot the exit, doesn't see anyone, and now you're looking for Ghost.
I was gonna say, maybe does he try to hop for a ninja? No one's checked yet. But instead, Lurks is playing for the kill. Timing here could be good. Pops up and finds a couple of shots into Hook, but cannot finish the kill. And in that moment, Hook finds a perfect reach out. Exceed gets one over the top of the plane, but nothing more. And yeah, that's just one of those moments that I think Carolina are making the call like, ooh, they're going to come over to A, commit over to the Deli. Oh, never mind. Like, it's just really bad timing on that cross for Craze.
Yeah, they just didn't have any information on that side of the map. When Craze crosses his way in towards Deli, because initially they start the round by showing pressure over towards plane. But then when Mercules finds that first blood, you force the rotation. He gains that info as well that they have already rotated because they were contesting him at Deli. And then just taking your time in a 3v3. Catch the player on the cross, and just simply off that kill, you know, no one is at this B site. Let's get it down, play our post plant. Easy around there for Optic on a slow and steady approach.
See what the response is going to be here for the Ravens. Exceed going to have the sniper rifle out to start. And take it over to Motel Steps. Nade onto Dash, he tags. The flak keeps him safe, though. Meanwhile, Optic, they've got Hook as a pivot man in the middle of the map and a double flank on the way. Very delayed. And honestly, Lurks is only in a position to see it once it gets to blue. So this is going to be a little bit of a surprise hit for Optic's defensive retake.
Yeah, and the longer you wait to plant this, the quicker of a retake this is going to be for Optic, because they have you trapped between a rock and a hard place at Motel area. Shots, he's able to strike for the first blood. The trade does come in. So you can work your way back on out there if you're the Rays. I thought Shotsy had a partner in crime, but no, it's a 3 on the opposite side.
Yeah, I think that was Mercules who comes right back through mid-deli to help out from the front. So the opening trade does have the Ravens providing an exit and a look at the B site. Nero trying to watch the cross with the scope. Craze going to get to work on planning. Lurk's the one trying to keep him safe from that window peek and is successful in that 3v3 post plant setup now for the Ravens.
And all of Optic trying to work through mid-cut. You know that Exceed has a sniper, but Nero's going to be able to call out this cross through mid-connector. So he at least spots one, gives the information, but he's going to be overwhelmed on the pinch.
Oh, he does well to get the first. Caught on the reload. Oh, he is perfect and is able to shut down on the dash. Oh, what a shot from Nero. Swapping back over to the scope. An insane 1v3.
Usually do not see Dashy lose those gunfights with the Jagger in hand. But somehow, some way, Nero is able to re-snap for that second gunfight. Mercules is caught off guard, thinking that he's one shot and doesn't have a sniper, and just walks right into the pre-aim. What a play there from Nero. But this second one, Dashy is one of the all-time best pistol players I've ever seen. And he usually doesn't lose those fights. But when you lose that, even Mercules was caught off guard. And then he gets the better end of that sniper ability at the end. Nero finds 3 to tie the game.
Sheesh, okay. Little wake-up call here in the beginning of map number 2. Exceed now sniping, connects onto Dashy for first blood. Defense now with the numbers, and the bomb is also down as Optic are at least able to trade things back to a 3v3. And wait, hold on, we have not seen much of this. Shotzi and Hook already up top, trying to play around the back timing, though Nero is just too snappy. Hook looking for the trade, but maybe have missed his window and he'll back away.
Yeah, 2v4. The Nuke's just trying to make a play. Is going to spot out one, try to get out of dodge, but instantly traded there from Nero. Now in a 1v2. Bomb's going to be down all the way at Motel. And Mercules is just playing for a spot, but Nero has the angle. And the Ravens quickly, 2 rounds in a row.
It's another 3 for Nero, I believe. I think he's on 6. Looking close to a possible cruise, and he is taking over right now. Huge stretch of rounds in a row right here for Carolina. So has he been able to earn it? Is it going to be tight to it? Or are you going to try to play for it if it's not there? Lots of questions, because if you can get yourself this Hellstorm, it very well may lead to a runaway map number 2 for you.
Yeah, guaranteed round, especially in a map like Scar. So you get the bomb plan down for free on the attack, or you can stop the bomb plan at whatever side that you want, because both are going to be outside. But 6 in a row still for Nero. Trophy is going to be in the back pocket. And Optic this time aren't going to take any space over towards plane. They're stacking around Deli.
Yeah, but they're looking for maybe a possible quick pinch. Shotzi working with Hoot right through mid. If there's enough of a call that there's a heavy commitment to the front, there could be an opportunity to overwhelm around the back, but instead it's just going to be a slow and steady approach. Shotzi trying to find a little bit of a poke out from that mid Deli position, but not able to find too much. Nero is quick on this corner. Does he have help to try to see if there's anyone here? No, he's just going to hold it, see if they can kind of bait the defense into peeking.
Yeah, they back down Shotzi now in towards Deli, though. Now Craze puts himself in a position to look for this kill. A nade is going to blow up right at the feet. Nero strikes for kill number 2, looking for kill number 8 in a row. And he instantly is going to fall. Now you rush that bomb plant to 2v2.
Yeah, but Exceed has the exit, so Who can't get away. Will back away and keep his life, but there's space for Mercules to work with around the back here. Lurks, if he commits to planning, he's going to be caught off guard by Mercules, who now has information, I believe, onto both. Sees Exceed jumping out, trying to find the freebie. Able to get the gunny up for it, but low on health. Try to find the trade as Lurks. Not able to
17.
fully commit it for initially. Mercules is dancing with them. 5 seconds. It's just a huge race. Can he get around the corner? Oh, just a little bit too far from the slash of the knife. And the Carolina Royal Ravens keep it going.
And they just keep on picking them apart. Back down Shotzi in towards Deli. Find the first blood. Nero instantly finds the second. And even though it does turn into a 2v1 at the end, Mercules only needed 4 seconds to secure this round. Lurks was just chasing him. Was trying to not let him get away. He was knocked down to 17 HP, and in the final moments, you're able to predict right that he rotated in towards Deli. And out of dodge of the knife. Allows Carolina to add another 1 to the board. Optics so far on the defensive side haven't figured it out still.
No, not quite. This time Carolina going to play aggressively through plane, opening first blood for Craze, looking for more, has Mercules low, but there's enough help to at least keep the trade alive. Early 3v3, Dashy's moved quickly. Can delete this trophy if he sees fit to, but instead is going to take the space away, has Exceed caught, but
he's trapped.
Not enough of an angle to find the kill, so now Dashy has to try to get back to safety, he's unable to do so.
Yeah, it's just once you take those shots, that's a commitment that you have to find that kill, or you're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Instantly falls, and now it's all up to the Nuke in a 1v2 information game for the Ravens, but Exceed just gives them a free kill. Now Lurks in another 1v1.
Oh, and the shots are perfect from Hook. About to say, I don't know if it's necessarily giving away a freebie as much as it's Hook just absolutely lasering that first kill. And then down the railing of the steps, able to lock things up just in time. because he was stunned, hit, and still pretty weak, but Lurks just cannot quite find the final shots, and Hook gives a lifeline here to Optic. But yeah, these shots are laser beams out of Hook.
Yeah, you're not expecting that reach out if you are XC. So he catches you off guard with the re-peek, and then the second gunfight onto Lurks. Just first couple of shots connect for the nuke. And it's just an easy cleanup kill. A much needed round there for Optic to stop the bleeding. As they go down 3-2. Back on the defensive side there go, where Dashy still hasn't found a kill, but he's the one gaining information at this A side, and everyone keeps falling. So just got to keep on stalling out the game clock.
Yeah, trust the process, trust the setup here, I believe, if you're Zashi. Carolina going to take a more normal approach here with 3 players over towards A. Semtex up top, a little bit too deep, I believe. Doesn't quite get a connection on Dashy, who was trying to defend. So Carolina will pull back to their spawn and see if they can kind of pull out some of the Optic utility, as, yeah, they're already looking to try to recontest the A site quickly.
Yeah, but Optic are instantly going to be here to just not allow that to happen. They're going to strike for the first blood. You show that face, and now you instantly take them all down. A 1v4, make it a 1v nothing. Optic with the slow and steady approach. All right, they're not working plane. They're not working mid. They have to be letting up a slow push over towards this A site. So you just catch them off guard with all 4 players at once, turning that corner, and not a single player falling. So 4 up, 4 down. Very clean round there from the green wall to tie the game.
Yeah, and a very weird call from Carolina. It looked like they were pulling back completely to see if they could bait Optic into trying to force a retake onto A. They almost got exactly what you thought that they wanted, but not able to put themselves in positions to stop it. So huge turn of events here since the 1v2 from Hook. The follow-up there from Optic gets us to a tie game, and Hook's on 4 in a row now. So it definitely changes the dynamic of this search. Dashy, Merc, going to go up top. Hook down low, has an extra AR. Keep that in the back of your mind in terms of how this approach is going to look, let alone what this post plant may look like.
Oh, gets information on the first. Knocked down to 49 HP, able to get on out. But look at what it's doing. It's drawing the attention for the Ravens on this side of the map, and Shotzi's going to break them on the pinch.
It's all about the timing. Dashy will fall. Nero, tag down low, will drop. Hook in some trouble, and that's a really good idea from Carolina. Just push everything out from the front and leave the last players behind you. And that last player is Hercules, but he's able to beam for 1. Does he get the reset on his health pool? No, not quite. The reach out up top works out, and Carolina put together a nice response.
Yeah, I love the confidence out of Carolina, but these forcing one-on-one gunfights when we have the man advantage, that's how you let S&D start to get away from you. Thankfully, Craze was in a position to get that trade on to Hercules while he was still weak. But you take the advantage again if you are the Ravens. Like you said, you're able to read the play call from Shotzi because you find that first blood over towards Motel. Shotzi finds the second. Instead of committing to rotate back towards green, you push on through. You win a majority of those fights to be up 4-3 now.
Can you follow it up? Put yourself on to game point. Optic's defense going to just essentially set up a square defense right through the middle of the map and kind of get to work, showing that same level, a little bit of pressure early through mid. Shotzi's looking for timing, but that shoulder is enough to say, nope, not so fast. I'll back up and just stay safe.
And that should tell you now, if you're the Ravens, that no one is probably working this pinch area because Shotzi is their playmaker. So if you spot him in towards Deli, we can try to work this objective. Lurks has yet to give up anything on this pinch. You also spot out 1 on top steps. You get info on another one on train. So that's 3 players accounted for, and we're rotating.
Well, looking to find the isolation here at mid. Lots of damage in from Nero, and he's able to find the final shot to get first blood onto Shotzi late in this round. Exceed takes down another. But now Hook stepping up. Tries to take the chow and nearly shuts down Nero. But now it's just on to Hercules. 1v3, 30 seconds, and Nero, well, he won't even need to worry about planting the bomb. Shots over towards B field are good, and Carolina get to map point.
Yeah, they just keep on gaining the information versus Optic on the defensive look. Like, once you're slowing down the approach on your attacks, because it's very difficult to get that bomb down at A when it's still 4 players alive. So just taking your time sometimes can work for you or come back to bite you. But right now it's working because you gain early info that Shotzi's start pinching in towards Deli. So you spot out 1. A stun connects onto the guy top Motel, that's 2. Then you spot out Hook on mid-train, so that's 3 players accounted for. And instead of rushing that bomb plan, all right, they're all sitting mid. Let's just rotate over towards mid. You find the first blood, you instantly find the second kill, and then a 1v3 from Mercury, you stand no chance. Defenses continue to be a struggle. Optic only have found 1 so far in this map, but now Ravens at game point.
Massive setup here for Optic's offense. Stun check for Carolina reveals Dashy's position on the staircase, and that will allow Lurks to continue this belly crawl to the corner. That will really establish a lot of defensive pressure onto the A site. Nero getting a couple of tags through the wall. Gives up top blue. Rotation for Exceed to help just in case. Good smoke over the top is going to cause some distraction here for the Ravens to have to worry about. But meanwhile, as it starts to embellish that site, you do isolate onto A. Mercules, do you expect Craze to be playing in this position? Apparently not. Hook will drop, that's your bomb carrier, and now Merc has to try to play his life or find the kill, and he will do the latter of the two.
Yeah, but he finds that kill after Craze finds his second, so it's going to be a 2v2. Bomb going to be down over towards Motel, and both teams on complete opposite sides of the map. Exceed just holding down the cross. Looking for any ounce of information while Satsi is getting aggressive in towards green. Right into the preem you go. 1v2 for Mercules.
Has to try to force something. Will once again hit the wall jump up top, but Carolina have played this well. They have completely split themselves to at least allow an opportunity to not be doubled up. And the final kill is tallied. Carolina, behind some insane rounds from Nero, are able to find an advantage late in the search and keep it and get a series tied 1 apiece.
Yeah, they just outclassed them again on the search and destroy. It seems like Scar, S&D right now for Optic hasn't treated them well. It seems like they're always uncomfortable on the map, and you can tell right there in that final round, because even though Lurks takes so much space over towards top Motel, first of all, he's not supposed to peek unless your teammate gives you a contact, because he would have had a free first blood, but you gift up the free first blood. Craze makes up for it, and then somehow, some way is able to manage a second kill after that. And then time is just ticking away. It's like Optic are trying to develop a strategy off of the SMGs potentially creating the opening, but on a map like Scar, it's very difficult to find openings in general. So when he's not finding success, you're wasting so much time, you're forced to commit on one side of the map, and that's right into the hands of what Ravens want you to do. Need to put some more work in here on the Scar search and destroy, but Ravens look clean, polished, and ready to rock on the S&D, just like we expected them to. Tie the series up at 1 now.
Yeah, it almost feels, and I'll kind of take your opinion here before we get into the Scar overload. You know, do you think it's just a little trying to do too much if you're Optic? Like a lot of first bloods from Shotzzy trying to play a little bit too aggressive, or first deaths, I should say, trying to be played too aggressive on their defense in particular. Is that just too cute for you? Do you want to see them be a little bit more normal, orthodoxical towards just playing more measured instead of trying to play so aggressive, or what?
Yeah, because Scar is like, if you give up that first blood, you're most likely going to cost your team the round. So being the aggressor in towards Delhi, it works out when you gain that information. But when they trap you, you give up that first kill, you're basically chalking your team up. So Shotzzy's definitely got some work to do, but the team in general has to figure that map out.
All right, well, that's the breakdown of map number 2. We'll come back to Overload, a mode that has been a key success point towards Carolina's recent story with Exceed in the mix. 3 straight wins there, whereas Optic are on 3 straight losses. Can they break the streak? For either of these two teams, we'll find out. It's Overload when we come back.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL. Black Ops 7 returns to the Esports World Cup in Riyadh this summer. Scan the QR code to be notified when tickets go live later this month. Start the season strong with the 2026 Call of Duty League Pack. Grab yourself the CDL operator by scanning the QR code on screen or check it out in the Call of Duty store in-game now.
Bomb gets planted. So now Awakening needs to go quickly. Shots to Arcity's decent. Down low, finds one more to the 1v1, but if you're Arcity's, you just run away. Is there time to collect and plant? No, I don't know if he got it in time.
I think he's got it. I think he's got it
It's
now.
close, Jay. It's close, Jay. He gets it with 0.1 of the clock to the 1v1 now.
Oh my. Working through dirt is going to be Arcity's. Both players completely wrapping each other, not being spotted, but time is ticking.
Awakening wins this gunfight. Prod and Notorious are your champs. Timing is going to be everything. 23 seconds on the clock. Awakening has put himself in a corner. Arcity's following behind. Here's the gunfight, and it's Awakening for the ace and the win. Oh, wow. I mean, I know Ant is gassed right now. He's like, Giga, get him in the lead mode. But wow, he has been in takeover mode. Project Notorious, your champions coming out of the winner bracket from Challengers Elite Stage 1. The European side, Clutch Rain, doing their job too, locking things up in Europe. Both teams looking really solid. And Jay, we had the conversation at the end of the night last night talking about this matchup where, you know, are we going to get a team that comes out kind of like your old Texas Nations, your Westers, your NYSL Academies, your Amoeba Bobs that can just dominate online and then also do it on land? We're going to find out because both these two teams are looking nice.
Oh yeah, Clutch Rain, Brezzy, and Linz, they were unbelievable. Actually, when I watched Brezzy in that final, he was like the best player, like without question, man. He does it with the SMG, the AR. He needs to get another shot because that guy is Mr. Consistent there on the EU side. And then Awakening and Geo, they were without question my MVPs for the NA side. Because Awakening, I don't know why this guy isn't in the league to start off the season, but just watching him in challenges, you can clearly tell there's a difference in skill because that guy's a monster down there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's really just, it's so much talent loaded in challenges.
It
right
is,
now.
bro.
I mean, we
It's gonna
had
be a lot of
tight
roster
group
changes.
stage. Yes, sir. Tight playoffs. And again, who knows what's going to happen on land? We have a lot of global representation coming to Texas, and we're pumped about that. Let's take a look, though, about, you know, again, who to take a look at for the overload, because these are your golden boots. Those that had the most overall scores so far. Exceed, that's in 2 games, has scored 7 times. Insane stuff out of him. But Carolina's overall offense actually has been really, really potent because Lurks also finds himself in the top 5. Vegas has really turned a leaf on their mode in overload as well after what was, you know, a pretty solid start, I guess, here and there. Like, they had a really big win versus Paris, but they had the monster win versus Cloud9, which helps out Abuza and draws his totals there.
Yeah, and a bunch of these guys on your screen are going to be AR players. Usually in overload, those are the guys that are going to get those objectives scored on in because SMGs are clearing out lanes. So big shout out to Lurks to just be alongside those guys. That tells you that Carolina are pretty good at this mode. The #1 guy, the #4 guy in the objective score. And when you're finding those objective scores, that means you're most likely finding it also in the sling. So you got a big broth here if you want to take down Optic, because Optic recently 0-3 in the last couple of overloads. They tried every single map. They're just not in sync, and you got to start off on the right foot here.
Oh, Hook finds an aggressive route through Motel. Dashi follows with the kill onto Craze. That's 3 down, so an opportunity to possibly grab, but they don't expect that Lurks is playing in mid, and his double stops to play in its tracks. Hook in a position to play his life behind enemy lines, though, and that's going to make a bit of a mess of the Carolina setups as they try to attack in their own right.
Yeah, you got to look for Hook, and on the opposite side, you got to look for Lurks. Thankfully, Dashi's instantly able to find that trade, but the reset comes in. Now you're scattered if you're the noob because players are supposed to be responding, right? He hasn't been able to spot anyone on the backside of blue, and the one time you do, you lose the gunfight and 3 go down, so Shotzi on the defense.
Well, in some trouble, has found himself 1 elimination, and more importantly, keeps his life. Nades over to Motel, giving Shots a little bit more space to breathe, but he will be taken down. Now Carolina trying to get this over the finish line. Pook trying to track down Exceed, who finds one before falling. Now the rotation back over to the point. Here comes the EMP, and Nero's able to find the kill to find the first score of the game.
So it's time of possession being dominated for the Ravens. I feel like every time I've watched Optic Texas in this mode, they're always on the defense, just fighting out of their base. And 3 go down again. Craze knows the last player is back here. Let me just set up the trade, and that's quickly going to be scored #2 on the boards for the Ravens. Optic now with the spawns over towards Motel have an opportunity to stabilize. With 3 going down, you just got to clear out the spawn to get past this young man who isn't going to make it easy.
No, and the prediction on the Hook is perfect. So now Nero can get to work trying to repossess the EMP. Merculus is out of there, just barely though. Followed up, Lurks. What a start he's been on. 10-3 as he's shut down, but sets up Craze and Nero. And here we go. Quick tempo once more. Player up top at tower, though, is Dashy. Holding the defense alive for now, but nade stuns all land. Mercules trying to get around the corner. EMP is up in the arms of Exceed, but he's going to take a moment of pause if he can, as Carolina gets pushed back.
Yeah, if Mercules doesn't win that gunfight, that's quickly another one added to the tally there for the Ravens. But finally an opportunity now for Optic. EMP in your possession over towards plain side. You just got to slay your way out through the middle of the map, check your corners, and you do if you are Dashy. So that's already 2 dead, 3 dead. Everybody coming off the respawns besides one, and the one player takes down your EMP carrier.
Yep.
Plus some. Exceed having another clutch moment in Overload.
Yeah, and you also had Ravens off spawn knowing that Dashy was playing behind. So that eliminates the forward threat. Shotzzy dealt with that mid. Mercules looking for an angle around the back. We'll get to the rooftops, but again, a couple of players are going to fall. The patience from Exceed is exquisite. And now once again, it's possession time for Carolina, but Shotzzy, Dashy find a couple eliminations and Ravens have to just wait for help.
Yeah, you're more than happy to play like this, though, if you are Ravens, because you are dominating the time of possession. Optic are consistently playing on the defense, looking for gold line stops, have no breathing room to work out of their base, because once you turn this corner around, you get this trade, and there's another one right above you, but that's where Mercules comes to life. So 2 players get shut down, Optic in possession of the EMP.
Yeah, but they've got no help at the moment, and they're also still working back some mid-map control. Pook able to assist a pretty good measure in that. Wow, big shot from Shotzzy. Keeps him not just alive, but also keeps the possession of that top field in the name of Optic. But Carolina continue to find even trades, not allowing Optic to even come close to getting anything that resembles a setup. So now Shotzzy's got to do it all himself. Maybe would have had 2 if he still had the ammunition, but he drops, and Carolina now will have to kill off about another minute and 10, and they'll find themselves ahead here in this half.
100%, because Optic is still trying to fight out of their spawn. All the power positions, all the map control in favor of the Ravens. Everyone's stacking over towards Plainside, but the reset does come in. So you have Mercules clearing out the lane. You just got to go forward, and the bomb carrier is just going back and forth. You gave Ravens an opportunity to shut you down now.
Yep, and the kill does come through. Lurks, again, just dominating so far this half. 19-7. We'll get to work picking up the EMP. Craze left alone at mid has found another elimination, leaving Optic to have to play from behind the zone defensively. Craze looking for a separate route. Wow, what a shot! What a set of shots from Craze! That quite get the third. Gets it done at range. You still have one more defender in place. Craze wants to find the kill, doesn't need to. Nero for the score. 22 seconds left on the clock.
They are getting world starred, brother. Craze from the back lines up a 3-piece. Final one with the Jagger. Now final 15 seconds. You got 2 kills that go your way. You're looking to potentially add 1 at least on the round. And it all starts by taking down these players towards the middle of the map. 2 dead, everyone off the respawns, all the Ravens ironing up.
Have they missed? No. Have they missed Shotzzy? Move around the back. They know he's back here somewhere. Couldn't quite find him, though. Shotzzy gets the first. EMP carrier still staying alive. Lurks in trouble. Uh-oh. A little bit of a dance right now coming through. Craze trying to find the EMP. Not going to happen. It's up to Exceed. They're able to find 1. Gets the second, but no. Cannot get the third, I don't believe, before the score comes through. So Optic able to get on the board, I believe, before the half comes to a full conclusion.
Yeah, that's going to be 3-1. A much-needed score there for the green wall, because it was looking grim again. This mode right now isn't treating them well, and that's because they keep on losing track of players, allowing these pinches to develop, and every single time Ravens find themselves in that position, they are making the most of it, outslaying the green wall to bits currently. And with Lurks having that start, everyone else just picking up where he left off. Clutch kill after clutch kill. You're going into the half up by 2. Don't know if anyone was able to pick up a Hellstorm, but to look at this again, Dashy's 1 shot, and then the commitment with the pistol like it was a machine gun. For Ravens up 2 at the half.
Faster firing rate on that single tap than the Dravik. Lurks up and over, able to find first point. Nero already responds, and you've already got an upward hole here. Look how far forward Craze and Nero have gotten. Trying to flip the EMP around the back to set up a score, but not going to happen. Optic respond defensively.
And now all the Ravens spawn over towards Plainside. So you're thinking that this is going to be a freebie for this 1v1, but they're already going to be here pressuring you. Craze finds a double. Dashy on the pinch. He's completely out of the play. This is another score.
Yep, sure looks that way, unless Shotzzy can find elimination, but no, not the case. Optic in some big trouble. Need to find a way to reframe things up and get themselves going as we take a listen into Optic Texas.
On ball, guys. Come on, guys, white wall on us.
He's right, he's right. Super.
What about he's going for ball right now.
Go left.
Done. We gotta wrap these guys in ours.
We just ate the left location.
Guys on me left. Yeah, on the left, Lurk.
Punch up, one more punch up.
Got him.
Still.
Yo, Lurk's is top
You
wood
left where-
steps. Top wood steps. He's going top dark.
Yeah, he's
Top
top
dark.
Top in any somewhere.
Top hand. Another one top, I think.
Ollie getting pinched.
Top exceed, he's super weak top.
Top, two. Nice. Another one top. Another one top.
Refind me, he's still low. He's top, nice.
Good ball. I'm gonna go left here.
Can I go?
He's back. What's on me? What's they're shot.
In shop. Dead.
Top wood. Top wood, Reek. I need help.
I'm trying to help it.
Got me, I'm a bullet.
Dude, low as well. Low and top.
Top weak.
Working done.
Low exceed.
There's two on me. Exceeds a bullet. And one guy's just pushing
Well,
through.
one's right one as well.
Dude, Sat's weak.
RCP one
I'm gonna
go
go ball. Another one ball. Ball in our sat somewhere.
The one could be our white wall.
He's bottom blue.
Keeping sat.
Front.
Bottom blue. Done.
He's dropping exceed, he's on A search.
Pushing up on the right.
Top wood and first ball.
Well, Jay, I'll let you take this here. I'm not the former pro player, but the comms feel a little one-dimensional and a little kill-hungry. Just he's here, he's there. I didn't really feel like we're quarterbacking many plays right now.
Yeah, I don't understand that communication from Optic. First of all, they sound dead. Second of all, it sounds like they don't know what's going on. The only thing that they're calling out right now is players' positioning to where they're dying from. You're not setting up anything as a team to take some space away. You even heard Hook say potentially someone on the pitch. It means we're losing track of players. Everything is just out of sync right now for Optic in this mode. And you can just tell another 3 go down in the feed. They don't have EMP control. They are fighting out of their base, always on the back foot. Optic are just not comfortable.
Yeah, Carolina just sitting and anchoring around this EMP, but an opportunity here, 3 down. Could possibly get a score. Exceed's the only one in place to stop this. EMP on the ground. Who's picking it up and trying to score on this?
Who is?
Dashy will fall behind this. I mean, you had Dashy playing from Motel Steps, thought he was going to be able to run forward and grab it and score behind the body block from Hook, but not the case. So now we're down to 2 minutes to play. Trades are starting to surface for the Carolina Royal Ravens. Shotzzy maybe a chance to open up some space, but the EMP is already reset.
Yeah, and you have no map control to go with it. Ravens are more than happy to park the bus, just sit in their spawn, whip out an extra AR, and just play keep away, because look at the route being developed on the side of Craze. All right, nobody's contesting me. I'll play for a spawner. I know you guys are going to take your sweet time on that approach, so my teammates are most likely going to ice up. Unfortunately, now they lose 2 gunfights, so potentially an opportunity here for Optic. You just got to get over to the score, and the nuke is able to put it on in. But a minute 24 to go, you're still down 3.
Yep, Lurk's able to find a couple, but not in time to stop the score. But the clock is the biggest adversary right now for Optic. Need to string together a huge relay. And Exceed, well, he's got help around, and he may be able to put this one out of question. Could just track this back and just play the control game at this point. Nice pistol shots, able to find Mercules, but Optic with a quick transition here. Lurk's watching the cut, finds one, but the EMP collected and gets across for a moment. Shotzzy down to a bullet, should be dealt with, and he is. And that may be the final moments of this overload, because I don't know if Optic are going to have time to do much of anything from this point.
Yeah, they need to score at least 1 goal in the next 14 seconds, and currently the kill feed is lit up in blue. So it's looking like Carolina potentially going to add another one to the board, but Shotzzy with the goal line stop. Needs to be perfect Call of Duty from this point on, and your EMP carrier gets cut down while everybody else is trying to clear out space. So Optic are going to lose another overload. That's now 4 in a row, and that's 4 in a row on the opposite side for the Ravens in this mode ever since the addition of Exceed. So the new guy to town has made these guys figure out the new mode, and it's looking great for them.
It's looking insanely good for them. 10 scores for Exceed in 3 games.
That's Derrick Henry.
Let alone the fact, let alone he's sitting on a positive stat line. Lurks goes 38 and 22. Give him 39. Can he get to 40? Wanted it, but Exceed steals it away. Masterclass continues to be the name of the game for Carolina in the overload. That puts them on a hefty streak, like you mentioned, but it's not even just the fact that they've won. They've only allowed 3 scores in the last 3 overall overload games. Unbelievable differential starting to mount here for the Ravens.
Yeah, it just comes down to sometimes an individual making a play. And Exceed, majority of that time, was the guy with 1 kill to slow down the progression, to slow down their push. Everybody else starts to come alive. Lurks almost drops 40. He was the initiator on this map, but Carolina was just in firm control from start to finish. I wish we went into a listening with that team so we could understand how they play Overload, so we could take that to the rest of everybody that's going to play rank play here in a couple of days. But Ravens have a really good grasp on how they need to play the new mode in Overload. Ever since the addition of Exceed, he brings it into Sling, he brings it in the objective, and again, he just allows his SMGs to get loose and get lost. And Optic just seem uncomfortable still.
Yep. And I think the biggest stat line in that scoreboard from a team point of view was the amount of assists that come through for the Ravens. Everyone in double-digit assists, whereas Optic had a couple of members underneath 5.
Yeah.
So it just feels like everyone's kind of playing their own game, and
that's what happens,
not
bro.
really working out all that well for them, bro.
That's what happens when you're consistently always on the defense. Like, imagine trying to be on defense in the NFL all day. Like, that is what Optic are trying to do. Always fighting out of their spawn, not ever having map control in their favor. And when the resets come in, when you're giving up the first 2 scores, and now you're spawning on an opportunity to get a 1 on the board, you're still not able to capitalize on it. So Optic, I know they added Colossus potentially to the map pool for Major 1, but every single Overload right now is a struggle. A lot of work to do on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of feels like teams are saying, we just don't want to play you on Den. And, you know, that's...
We'd be good.
That's just
we'd be straight.
Happen. You know, we'll be good. We'll be good. But lots to be happy about if you're a Ravens fan. Carolina really starting to put together quite a storm here after being able to take down Toronto 3-1. Maybe a chance to do the same thing here. Have to get it done, though, by way of the Den hardpoint. And even though Optic have not necessarily used this as a main vessel for their hardpoint, they still have looked really good on it. Whereas this was the map that Carolina did drop to Toronto in map number 1 in their series last weekend. Really, I think we just kind of reflect back to that opening hardpoint, Jay, and say, you know, it was a tight game. I know the 250-186 makes it feel a little bit more open-ended towards Optic's favor, but maybe only a couple of mistakes that really cost Carolina, mostly surrounding commitment to playing off scrap time and sending players to old with like less than 20 seconds when maybe we could be really preferring to play for rotation, I think, especially on a map like Den. Yeah,
and just being laid off the rotation forces you now to try to find success in breaking, and that has been a struggle for them. And for the one time that they played Toronto on this map, Toronto just beat them to the punch. You can't have that for your Carolina because your breaking attempts right now just a little bit all over the place. So you got to be off the rotation early. Be that first team setup in some of these money hills, because Optic, on the other hand, the couple of times they played Den, if they're set up, they're basically unbreakable. So that's your recipe right there. Carolina, be there early. Don't allow Optic to set up at this new time.
Especially when you look at some of the money hills that we have on this particular map.
They can be so punishing, man. So punishing.
Terrace. Yeah. Very, very true. Very, very true. So that's kind of a setup in terms of what we're looking at here. But now we take a look to see if there's going to be an effort here for Optic to get us to a map 5 affair. And kind of even talking about that, it's an exposure, search, and destroy, which you may have seen there in that series layout. That's another map that Optic have not played yet. Although, again, to be fair, their search and destroy, largely speaking, has been good, except for their last 2 instances on Scar. So hopefully there's no bad juju in the water there surrounding what's happening with exposure. But taking a look at this particular map, the head-to-head does favor that of Optic pretty much across the board. And again, you know, that's just a sample size of 1 for the Ravens, with that minus 91 average margin really standing out. But it's the rotation win percentage, only 50% of the time. That's what we really need to see improve here for Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina need to beat them to the punch, man, because if you allow a 90% whole team to set up at a hard point, you're most likely not going to find success breaking it. We saw it in map number 1. And this map is completely different than Colossus because you're going to whip out an extra AR on a map like Den. So might be a little bit more comfortable here if you are Optic and looking to force the game number 5. I need to see a switch up in like body language, because just looking at the player cams, it looks like they're defeated. You got to come to life here. I know it's been a bad overload for the last couple of matches, but this is what you do. You're a hardpoint team.
Well, see if they can find a way to recover and get us to a map 5 to start off our final weekend of qualifiers. It'll be Den for the hard point, though. As mentioned, a playground that has not really surfaced so much for Optic. And this opening has been really good for Carolina. Cray's already taking away some forward space at middle, and if he can find a route, that may lead to an early spawn flip, setting up them for 2.
Yeah, don't get no better than that. You clean up house in the middle of the map, already securing yourself at least 20 seconds up P1 time. And now this forces Shotzi to hit that long route through P2, flank the rooftops to get the break there for Optic. So they set that one up with the cleanness. And now off the rotation, you already have players pushed out. You cannot hit that route if you are Lurks. You have to try to contest this old time. And Optic are basically going to tie the game up with the rotation over towards New.
A couple of kills do come out, allows Exceed to get back in towards mid. You can see Shotzzy watching the rooftop push. Dashy watching through couches. No one has seen the playthrough hole though. Craze is able to find the opener. Mercury's trying to save it by getting himself backside radar. Bert, he's in trouble and will be dealt with. Lurik's already spotted a huge snap onto Dashy. The setup broken instantaneously, and Optic now have to find a way to break.
Yep, the first attempt on a break, and at least a clean 4 dead. All map control now in your favor. You know where all of Optic are going to approach from, but the nuke is able to open up with 2, so your setup isn't going to be as strong. Someone needs to make up for it, and it's narrow poison. Give me 3 in the feed. Craze get the 4th. Now I'm pushing forward.
Oh, and he nearly takes down Dashy as well. Sets up Lurks for a freebie. And now Optic are a little bit stuck here, sending 2 players to the middle of the map, deciding if they want to try to hit for the break or not with the time remaining on the hill. Merc is able to get 1, but the team shots are better. Exceed in and out of the hill. Yeah, really good finesse from Exceed. So the scrap time locked in for Carolina, and now it's just down to how much pressure can Optic establish on the rotation. Dashy can only find 1. Craze will have a chance to get into Dojo early.
Yeah, this is for free. Like, Optic are supposed to just cut their losses at that old time set up here at P3, but now you're wasting time. Just finding kills at the old time and around this mid-map area. You give Ravens an opportunity to chain that P2 to the P3, but now kills going the green wall's way. All 4 dead in the feed. Ravens all spawning over towards this side of the map. And all you got to do is look forward and win your fights if you're Optic.
Yeah, Exceed gets caught way ahead of his team. Optic will benefit off the numbers situation. Nice shots from Nero, shuts down Shotzzy, but the pinch from Craze also gets dealt with. So now it's just down to the battle from the front. Dashy and Merc putting it together. Yes, there's a team kill, but it's not going to amount to too much. Optic, we're going to get full control on the scrap time at 3.
Yeah, now you got to cut your losses if you're all the Ravens and hit that early rotation over towards P4. The only player here in the position to contest you is going to be Dashy, but he's going to be surrounded. So you go for the gunfight towards the window, and Nero's able to get the better of you. And now the Ravens are here from the front side. Tie game, they have a slight lead, but Optic with the spawns need to find this break.
2 trophies down for Carolina on top of that. So Optic from Dragon trying to set up a break attempt. Here's the play from the front. And Nero's able to shut down the first 2. Dashy gets the trade, but not much she can do beyond that besides maybe block spawns. But as he drops, Optic are spawning now from the front. Perfect read for Carolina. Exceed lighting it up, not missing a bullet as he finds himself a second. And Optic with 30 seconds need to figure out, are we hitting routes or are we flooding from the front still?
Gotta flood from the front. Well, everybody else, at least where you're spawning, you're instantly going towards the HP. So you try to go through bottom comms, you get shut down. Now pressure on the backside, you get shut down. Ravens just have all their bases covered. Flawless from the front side of this P4. Blow this game wide open. Almost going to be up by 60 as we go into the second set. And Lurk is already contesting for those next 8 hardpoint spawns.
Will be taken down, but the damage has been dealt. Nearly double the score in favor of the Ravens at the moment. Craze up and out of the window. Can't quite find the red dot chase on what I believe was supposed to be Shotzzy. Lurks from the other side, though, just making a mess of this setup. Yep, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. 3 straight dead, and now the Ravens have a chance to get some really good time here on 1 to grow their lead.
You could just tell by the listening that we got on the last map that Optic are having a really hard time consistently locating where these guys are, because no one watches the flank towards Broken. He single-handedly gets the break. And now you're reading the pressure through the middle of the map. But we're still not able to set up these gunfights that we need to get them off of the hill time. Mercury's is going to be traded. Craze finds that kill on the opposite side of the map, so you potentially have a chance to chain it over towards P2, but Optic reinforce their way back through couches and are looking for a good response at this P2 this go around.
Yeah, Optic need to take a breath here. And they will find a lot of eliminations back through P1. And Dashy will get some space in front of the second hill. So, okay, nice moment here for Optic. They're given an opportunity to really get a read. Long route from Nero starting to establish itself through 3. Does Mercules expect this? He's in a spot to get at least a read on it. And yeah, will snap over, win a key gunfight, hold the spawns, while meanwhile, Shotzzy from the front is making sure the hill stays safe.
Yeah, you got to keep it safe now because you clear out the back. Now you all know that the Ravens have to funnel their way through the front door. Just keep the kills lighting up on your favor. Lurks is here to contest, and he's able to pop a double. So now it's Dashy, last man standing. He's
Oh,
gonna
man.
get cut down. Lurks just breaks them down, potentially for this final 20. And now Optic, you're realistically forced to rotate. You can't commit reinforcements again here at P2.
It's tough though. It's a lot of time. So Dashy will try to give this a look, but him and Mercules will both drop shots. He gets traded, and the only player left standing is Hook on rotation. Carolina gonna cut through the middle of the map, try to get here first. Oh my! Beat them. Nice shots from Lurks, almost able to get the transfer desperately over to Dojo, but Craze is there to pick up on it. Exceed following up with damage on the front doors, and it's just down to what Mercules can find, and he's able to get one. Not quite the second. Nero survives with just a little bit of health, and now has a Hellstorm to also work with as Carolina continue to blow this game wide open.
Yeah, Optic is just playing a little bit sloppy right now. Fundamentals aren't really there. 3 go down in the feed again. Ravens have the numbers to reinforce their way back on the hill time and continuously just run up that score. You need to get them out of it if you are the green wall. You need to start winning some fights, but Lurks continues to break them down. He doesn't even have to find that final kill as 3 go down in the feed. Spawns flipped. Optic, yeah, it's looking over with.
Sure is. I mean, Ravens are just helping each other out so much, man. Nero's 21 and 13 doesn't hurt either. But Lurks able to find a double. That's an assistance of Craze on the old time. So now Ravens have the numbers. And the prediction from Exceed is perfect, though Dashy's able to collat and find himself a double. That's number 3. Now to the pistol. Can he find the full quad feed? Yeah, he's able to get Craze off the map. So that'll work. Dashy able to do it himself, get some 4 in a row, and Optic are in the hill.
Yeah, potentially a 4-piece to give yourself some momentum. Because you need a good chunk of time here, basically a full 60 to get yourself back into the mix. Now you're lighting up the kill feed. Mercules and Hook already finding 2. You're reading where the pressure is coming in if you are shots, but you don't win the fight. And now Ravens have the numbers to approach the back.
Yep, able to find the first couple of kills. That's a 3-for-1 exchange again, Jay, in the face of what is a pretty solid setup for Optic. Hook almost able to provide a bit of a miracle hold. Shotzzy tagged up, didn't really finish that first kill as cleanly as he would have liked. Trophy system is out, stuns the corner. Now he's on his way in, but no, shut down as Exceed is able to find himself 3. And now the game is truly and well out of hand. If it wasn't before, at least. It's about a 100-point gap. Ravens in the lead, looking to shut down another top team and stay flawless in January.
Yeah, and look at Crazy. Already got lost. Like, Dashy's not going to turn around and look towards his broken, so Crazy's just going to jump on out, get this free kill, have him one shot while the Hellstorm is being invested. So only needing 18 seconds. Someone just hop on the HP to call game. They just need 1 set of kills.
Shotzzy will drop from the front. Gun still up. Lurks able to find himself a second. And wow, that is a statement from Carolina. They still have 1 more match to play, but they have taken down Toronto, and now they find a 3-1 win versus Optic, and you better believe that these guys are feeling it.
Oh, man, they are the real deal Holyfield. Like, you were thinking, all right, Exceed walks to the building, honeymoon stage is starting to hit, but these guys have been able to figure out how to play around each other here on Black Ops 7. You're making top teams look like underdogs, and you are just flying around the map and doing whatever the hell you want. That was Optic's also last match here of the qualifiers, man. So you're going in off the back-to-back losses. One to Thieves, that was very tough. But some people could understand. You were expecting a bounce back here versus the Ravens. Definitely show improvements in the overload. You don't do that. You at least add Colossus to the map pool. You can walk away with that one. But Optic just looked like a completely different team than what we saw in the first 2 weeks. And Carolina looked like one of them top dogs that could potentially take Major 1 now.
Wow. I mean, we said it kind of half joking yesterday, but I don't know, man.
This is crazy, man.
Pretty good, bro. What we're seeing has been really good. Insane turnaround. Can it show up on land? We'll have to wait and find out. Carolina, like we mentioned, still have 1 more match this weekend. They'll play Thieves, and we'll figure out if, well, the Kenny effect is still well and truly on, where Optic will have to just kind of lick their wounds and hope they can get a little bit of a land boost when they get down to Southern Methodist University for Major number 1. Here's a look at our game flow, though. Again, pretty back and forth until it wasn't. That flat line, we see it pretty regularly when teams kind of get behind the ball in rotation. That was definitely the case for Optic. I mean, stops at 64. They only get a handful of points between 3 hills.
Yeah, man.
And it kind of flatlines out again. It's just they could not get anything going with these breaks. And more importantly, they just weren't able to get themselves fully set up and hold their setups, maybe most importantly beyond that.
Yep, fundamentals weren't there in the rotations, and then your setups were easily broken into. Optic just looked completely out of sync today, and Ravens capitalize on it. I'm pretty sure with that win, Ravens guarantee themselves now a winner's bracket side at Major 1, which is insane to say because they started 0-3, Al. They started 0-3. You win 4 in a row with a new guy, Nick Seed. And everything has just been firing on all cylinders, man. It's good to see the under